Well, for all of our first-time visitors, thank you for joining us today. Every service is a little bit different, so we hope you'll come back several times to get a sense of who we are. All the information you need to know about today's service can be found in our handy guide to Sunday worship. Is there anyone who needs one of those? Looks like we've got a few in the back there. Great, thank you for taking that. Now, thank you for raising your hands. Zoom friends. Our tech team will drop a copy of the order of service and a visitor form into the chat. After the service, we invite you to stay for coffee, and then we've got this fabulous welcoming room across the hall in the south foyer. It's a place where UUs can mingle, both old and new, and get a chance to greet each other in a little smaller environment. Zoom friends, we'd love to have a coffee hour for you too, but first we need a Zoom host. So if you're interested in hosting Zoom coffee hour, please contact Rev Jen. And now let us enter into a time of worship by lighting the flaming chalice. It's a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And Phoenix is going to help with, I forgot my glasses, to help with the lighting. And today's chalice reading is a call and response. So I am going to say some words, and this part of the sanctuary, when I'm done, will say, come in. This side of the sanctuary will say, be among us. Thank you, Phoenix. So you got that? Come in, be among us. Okay. This is called Come In, Be Among Us by Sherry Woodbury. So to all who are yearning for community, come in, be among us. To all who are just getting started, to all who long to go deeper, to all with tender places needing care, come in, be among us. To the ones who have healed and have care to give, for those who are curious and hungry to learn, for those who know that they have something to teach, come in, be among us. For the ones who are just beginning to suspect they might nurture others becoming, to the young and the old, the innocent and the jaded, the fresh of mind and the deeply steeped. There is room here for each and every one. Come in, be among us. Thank you. Now let's say the words together of our mission, which affirm our shared purpose. Empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
My name is Tim Vigneault. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, relatively newly appointed, and relatively newly appointed as the secretary also. I am of retirement age. I use he, him pronouns. I'm tallish. I have salt and pepper hair, and I have a lavender shirt on today for anyone visually trying to identify me. I've been asked to be involved. I'm supposed to read this, but I wanted to introduce one thing first. My first involvement with the church was in the Inquirers group. I don't remember exactly what year that was, but it was in this building. And we would meet in the small chapel, and it was for people curious about the church. And we'd have different topics, and I think all of the new members have likely gone through that. And one of my joys of doing that was when we had new members, and I'd be sitting with you, and I would be seeing the new members that had just come through the Inquirers program, and it was kind of gratifying to see them go through that process and then become members. Even slightly better, I guess, was to see them later go on and do big things with the church. So like Amy and Bob and Linda were all in my Inquirers group way back when, and so it just makes you feel good to see new people come in and then become involved and then help the rest of us. Several times a year, we formally welcome the people who recently signed the membership book. No one should feel pressured to join this community. In fact, many people have been friends of this congregation, not a member, for decades. The choice is a deeply personal one, and we respect all of your choices. For those who choose the path of membership, agree to participate in worship and other church events, share your talents and gifts, help financially sustain this community according to your ability, take responsibility for your own spiritual growth, let yourself be cared for, and care for one another. Every time our community gathers for a new member ceremony, we receive into this congregation a portion of what we are becoming. It's such a hopeful, energizing event, and this morning we recognize, just list everybody's name?
Yeah, and invite them to come up.
Okay. So I'm going to read off our new members and invite you to line up next to Rev Jen here. So this morning we have Nancy Callahan, Aaron Coonrod, Jane Gallagher, Mike Gallagher, Elliot Gear, Marie Kennemer, Yvonne Lyle, Sarah Patnode, Nita Steiner, Amber Wheeler, and Heidi Wilson. And I'm hoping I came pretty close on those names. Their stories and photos will be in upcoming weekly newsletters. So please read those and make a special effort to get to know our newest members. Friends, some of you have taken part in our Inquirers classes to learn more about our church and the UU faith. Others transferred to your membership from other UU congregations and fellowships. You came seeking deeper relationships. You came seeking a way to live out your values. Whatever brought you to this threshold, you have said yes to being an active member of this spiritual community. And you said yes to Unitarian Universalist values and the promises of our covenant. And so let's say the words of the UUCE covenant together. As a beloved community, empowered by love, we covenant to embrace the next person who is always arriving, open to the change they will bring. We covenant to trust others in their identity and truth and work to be trustworthy. We covenant to speak our truth bravely and gently as we commune in love and peace. We covenant to make efforts to understand the views of others and make amends when intentions and impact collide. We covenant to expand our connections with the larger community with humility and empathy. We covenant to remember that how we are with each other is the foundation upon which we build the beloved community. Welcome to our new friends.
And everybody on Zoom also says welcome to our new members. We're really glad to have you. It's fun to see your chalices lit here. Good Sunday morning, everyone. My name is Jen Youngsun Ryu, and I serve this beautiful congregation as its minister. I use the pronouns she and her, and today I'm wearing all black with kind of pinkish, purplish, pinkish stole on today. Here we have gathered once more, gathered side by side, and once again we turn from the mundane business of our daily lives to stop. Maybe you have been running around all week. Maybe this is the first time that you've had a chance to just stop. Stop and look into each other's eyes. Stop and touch the divine spark in your own core, the fire in your belly. This is the flame that fires the passions of creativity, love, hope, and yes, even anger. The early Christian monastics placed anger at the very top of their list of the 7 deadly sins. The Hindu sacred text lists anger as one of the 3 gates to self-destruction. And the holy prophet Muhammad said, anger corrupts faith in the same way that vinegar destroys honey. The Jewish Talmud teaches that there are 3 people that the Holy One loves: the one who does not get drunk, the one who does not stand on ceremony, and the one who does not get angry. So, is this the end of the story? I hope not, says someone in the audience. Well then, come along. Come, let us touch the flame of life and see what it has to teach us about the usefulness of anger. Come, let us worship together.
This is a poem by Marge Piercy, who says, a good anger swallowed clots the blood to slime. But what is to be done with it, this anger that dare not be swallowed? Should it be diluted with denial, cooled with indifference? Should it be sweetened with good intentions, softened with lies? Should it be spewed out red hot over searing tongues, scorching the guilty and innocent alike? What's to be done with it, this anger that dare not be swallowed? Don't dilute it, deny it, or cool it. Don't sweeten it or soften it, but pause for a moment. Could you hold it before your eyes, examine it with your heart and mind? Could you hold it and touch it to your belly, the place where your soul rests? Could you let it enter there, knowing it is the part of you that needs to be treated kindly, that needs to be listened to, that needs to be honored? For it has the power to save you, to save us all.
Now is the time in the service where we share the joys and sorrows that we've been carrying all week. So we have 2 entries in our book here that I want to share with you, and then I want to make sure that our friends on Zoom have time to enter in their joys and sorrows. You can do that through chat, and anything that you write in there, I'll share with the folks here. So we are in the season of Ramadan right now, and in a few days, the Persian New Year, Nowruz, did I say it right? Nowruz will begin, and next week, Rebecca has very kindly offered to share some of that tradition with us. And so next Sunday, please come and join her at the table. She'll have some goodies and really interesting things so we can learn more about this holy day. So joy for the start of spring, renewal and friendship. And also gratitude for the comfort and joy in being part of this community. Joy for the births of my niece and nephew, born on March 17th, 6 years apart to my sister. And joy for this moment, sunshine on magnolia blossoms. More joy. I enjoyed dancing last night to benefit shelter care. Last night, along with other dancing UUCE members. More joy in enjoying the glorious morning sunshine. And so it seems like we have a lot of not angry, pretty joyful, grateful people here. I'm glad for that. My joy these days is rooted in my 6-year-old daughter, who is a spark in my life. And there is joy for the mason bees hatching from their cocoons. I can picture those right now. I know exactly where they are, actually. What a glorious, glorious time of year, isn't it? Finally to see consecutive days of blue skies and sunshine. Just want to remind you that any time during the service, any time during the week, you can write in the book, you can place a stone in water, you can light a candle, and let that be your prayer for all the joys and sorrows that you hold. This morning, I invite you to ground yourself in a metta meditation. We've done this meditation before. This is going to be a little bit different. I invite you to get comfortable. You don't have to be in a certain position, but just be at ease. You know, be at ease with your body. Be at ease in this space. Be at ease with this company. And say these words silently, or you can say them out loud softly. And to yourself, say, may I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be peaceful and at ease. imagine billions of people upon this earth happy and well and safe and at ease. What a different world that would be. Continuing to focus on your inner spark, the spark of the divine in you, caring for the whole self. Say to yourself, may I be at ease in my body. May I feel the ground beneath my seat, beneath my feet. May I be attentive and gentle toward my own discomfort, my own suffering. May I be attentive to my own well-being. May I move toward others freely and with openness. May I receive others with sympathy and understanding. May it be so. Amen. Anger is such an unusually complex emotion. Peel back the layers of anger, and we find a stew of bubbling emotions that bring pain and even pleasure at the thought of planning payback. Anger starts with the act that has inflicted damage. And we often assume that it was intentional. It must have been. How could they not know that this would upset us? And then we make up a story that makes sense in our minds. And we aim our irritation and our annoyance and our disapproval and righteous indignation towards that person. All of this, of course, happens within seconds, without a breath, without a thought. Sometimes it happens so fast that we are no longer in control of our words, of our actions, or anything that happens. We have become the involuntary instrument of our own anger. And then, well, you can fill in the rest of the picture, because all of us have done and said things in anger, and because we have all experienced the anger of others. We experienced Ryan's anger today, so we know what that feels like. The brilliant writer, philosopher, psychoanalyst, philosopher Viktor Frankl reminds us that everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. Do you remember what that one last thing is? To choose one's own attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. No matter what happens, you can choose your own way. Now, this takes an awful lot of practice. I'm still practicing, and I expect to be practicing till the day I die. Because we all have this reptile brain, right? And a nervous system that tells us to be afraid when we're not being chased by a tiger, just being chased by patterns of thought and reactions. So I would like you, if you are willing and able, to remember the last time you were really seriously angry. Now, it may have been minutes, it may have been years, but try to remember the last time you were really, really, really angry. And try to be as specific as possible. Where were you? Who else was there? Can you picture the setting? Can you smell anything? Can you hear anything? And then where do you feel this feeling in your body? Do you feel it in your head? Sometimes I feel it right here in my throat. Sometimes it's right here, this tightening of the chest. Sometimes it's a queasiness in your gut. I mean, it can be anywhere, right? And then, can you say the truth? I am angry. Like right now, I'm really mad. This is what mad feels like. This is what angry feels like. We owe ourselves the clarity of this truth for our own self-worth, for our own self-nourishment. We really need the clarity of this truth. And I know that some of us were kind of raised to deny that kind of feeling. Oh no, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. Are you mad? No, I would never be mad. Are you mad at me? No, that could never happen. Okay, so you remember this feeling. Can you imagine in the midst of that feeling, can you imagine taking a pause, taking a breath, and letting this kind of half smile grow on your face? Now, this half smile is really not done with your lips. It's more like an eyebrow thing, you know, like a smiling with arched eyebrows and like an open, kind of an openness to your face, right? And just the slightest whisper of a smile on your lips, right? But mostly it's the rest of your face communicating this kind of smile. Breathe. Don't dilute it. Don't deny it, don't cool it, don't sweeten it or soften it, but pause for a moment to tell the truth. I am so angry right now. This is what anger feels like. Oh, isn't this interesting? Could you hold it before your eyes, examine it with your heart and your mind? Could you touch it? Could you hold it and then touch it to your belly? That place where your soul rests. This is the spiritual practice. And this is the spiritual practice of shadow. You know, those hidden and neglected parts of ourselves that deserve and need our love. Practicing shadow means that you reclaim all of yourself, accepting all of who you are in all of its glorious, chaotic complexity, the whole of you. Now, we can't choose what emotions are going to rise and fall in our bodies throughout the day, right? Feelings come, feelings go, but what we can choose is to turn away from thoughts of vengeance and revenge, because that is a way to remain stuck in the past. To keep rehearsing what has happened, the transgression, the story. What if, instead, we could create a path forward, create a path that increases the well-being of everyone involved? You think it's possible? Were you able to do that in this exercise? Is it possible to feel this strong surge of anger and then to take a pause and to examine? It is possible, and every single person in here can do that. If we all practice this, think about the ripple effects, the positive ripple effects in our families, in our communities, in our workplaces. It would be incredible.
When Rev Jen told me we'd be exploring anger today, my heart began to pound hard in my chest. See, I don't have a very good relationship with anger. I'm afraid of anger, even when it's not directed at me. Is there such a thing as good anger, like John Lewis's good trouble? Well, I've pondered this for years now, and I'd like to share my anger journey with you, how it was then and what it's like now. Then, the early years. In my little kid view, my parents never became angry with each other, a belief reinforced by the fact that they didn't show anger toward each other in front of me and my sister. I never saw them argue or heard them raise their voices. And I don't recall them showing anger towards me. I've come to believe that that's because I was a goody two-shoes and didn't give them reason to be angry with me. Now, my sister was another story. You can imagine that without good role modeling of what to do with anger, I was lost. There was a subtle message that I got growing up that nice girls don't get angry. And I sure wanted to be considered a nice girl. Another message was don't express your anger. So I swallowed it or tried to talk myself out of it by imagining reasonable reasons for the other person's anger, wanting to cut them some slack in my mind. And now, I have not cracked the 5th level of code that would see me accepting anger and smoothly working through the issue with an angry person. Anger still scares me, although I'm learning to detach myself from the big feelings of others, to acknowledge the legitimacy of their feelings and to not feel it's my responsibility to fix the anger. That's a good start towards putting anger in a new perspective. And then as for my own anger, I still struggle. I find I'm not articulate when I'm angry, which gives me pause. I retreat to my room and fume until I'm calm enough to address the issue, using I messages and active listening. That's worked fairly well, not perfectly, but I subscribe to the wisdom of progress, not perfection, and find myself satisfied with my efforts, fully expecting continuous improvement. I don't relish opportunities to practice this, but I'm ready when those opportunities come. Thank you.
Anger, like other human emotions, is neither right nor wrong, neither immoral nor moral. What we choose to do in response to those feelings, now that is a totally different matter, right? Do we choose to swallow our anger? Do we ignore what it's trying to tell us? Or do we let it just run our lives? What if, instead of letting ourselves be an instrument of anger, we could turn anger into an instrument that serves our soul? What if we could learn to let our anger reveal the deeper truths of our inner lives? When I was a child, I spoke like a child, and I got angry like a child. Apparently not the children that we have here, because they don't get angry, I guess. But I was an angry kid. I remember that. And I didn't have the ability to stop and look deeply and ask questions of myself. I mean, children just feel their emotions and then they move into action. They hit, they throw, they yell, they cry. But as we grow into spiritual maturity, we develop the capacity to slow things down and to tell the truth about what is happening to us. We can step back and remember who we are, that we are beloved. And anything that we feel is not going to separate us from that love. In the light of wisdom, we can trace the sources of anger to feelings of betrayal, feelings that, like, life isn't fair, feelings of loss and disappointment that we are not getting the life that we deserve. When we can do this, we can express anger in a way that is honest and impactful and yet doesn't harm others. From the perspective of a bystander or a witness, the person who explodes in anger is often seen as out of control, right? Someone to be avoided. Oh, she is such an angry person. Who wants to be around that? Oh, I can't stand it when they go off like that. I am not going to listen to you if you're going to be angry. Do you see how those comments shut down the telling of truth? Do you see how often those judgments harden the listener's heart and block the flow of compassion? So if we move from the personal to a broader social level, the same dynamic has been used and continues to be used by people who have power over those who have very little power. The feminist theologian Sharon Welch puts it this way: the most effective defense mechanism of those in power is the inability to tolerate the rage of those they have oppressed, and an inability to hear what is being expressed through that rage, the truth that is trying to get through that rage, the fact that they have violated something deep and valuable, the dignity of another human being. The self-righteous rejection of rage as a legitimate form of expression is itself a perpetuation of the cause of the rage. It's a way of denying the dignity of the peoples they have violated. And we see that over and over and over again. Just because we are not uncomfortable with anger doesn't mean that we should turn away from it, because it may reveal something really interesting. So it's certainly better to express anger than stuffing it just for the sake of comfort. Would you agree with that, Linda? Yeah. Unexpressed anger sometimes turns into the bitter fruit of resentment. It leaves little room for joy. There's another feminist theologian, Beverly Harrison, who makes the point that anger is part of love. I had not thought about this before, but anger is part of love. Anger reveals the interconnectedness of the people involved, and for her, anger expresses caring, and it's a sign of some resistance in ourselves to the moral quality of the relations in which we are immersed. It's no wonder then that when anger is expressed among intimate partners about things that we really, really care about, grief is often part of that emotional stew. Maybe some of you remember a movie back in the early days of 1976 called The Network, or I think it was just Network. It's where an anchorman broadcasts his outrage right in the middle of the nightly news. I don't have to tell you that things are bad, he growled. Everybody knows that things are bad. everybody's out of work or scared, or banks are going bust, shopkeepers are keeping guns under their counters. We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad, but I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. All I know is that first you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being, damn it. My life has value. Things have got to change. But first, you've got to get mad. And you've got to say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore. I am not prepared to get rid of that aspect of anger. In fact, I think we need more of that energy and more of that fire and passion. I'm mad as hell too. Things have got to change. We cannot keep destroying the lives of other people. We can't keep ignoring each other and trampling over each other. Anger is passion fired by the flame of life. Anger is passion fired by the flame of life. And while that flame has the potential to destroy, it also gives light and warmth. Anger, yes, can incite us to cut someone off in traffic or swing our fists or drop bombs. And anger can motivate us to challenge oppression. It can arouse our compassion, and it can inspire us to action. I'm a pastor, and so I strive to be gentle and kind. And I want to be gentle, and I also want to be angry. I have been too quiet in my life, too willing to tamp down the rising flames of anger, afraid that I will go out of control, that something's going to go out of control, that I'll hurt somebody's feelings, wanting everything to be just calm and nice. But that is not how I want to live this one wild and precious life that I've been given. I want to live close to the burning flame of life. Now, living that close to the flame can be dangerous. Even righteous anger can easily burn out of control, and righteous indignation can lead to violence. We do indeed stand in the midst of a burning world. We are primed to burn with compassionate love and justice. We are primed to turn inward and find holy fire at the core. It's there. See it. See the truth of that for yourselves. That flame has been lit by candles that the ancestors lit for us. Our ancestors lit flames for us because the creation of justice is the task of many, many generations. Our ancestors lit flames for us because we need that fire in our bellies. We need the fire to make this world a more peaceful, a more compassionate, and more loving place. This holy flame burns inside each and every one of you. And so let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And thank you, Kara. We have this beautiful partnership where Kara's students fill our halls with beautiful music during the week, and then every once in a while, Kara is here on Sunday morning gracing us with that wonderful, wonderful violin. So thank you for being here with us today. Let's say together our closing words as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As you go, please remember to take a few minutes to greet your neighbors, especially the ones you don't know yet, and especially the new members who just joined today, right? And now, go out into the highways and byways. Give the people something of your new vision. You may possess a small light, but uncover it and let it shine. Use it in order to bring more light and understanding into the hearts and the minds of all you meet. Give them not hell, but hope and courage. Preach kindness and everlasting love. Go in peace, my friends.